Hey folks, Garrett here. Here to do my answers to Toya's 10 questions for collectors. I'm going to go ahead and jump right in because it might take a little bit. Number one, do you have a budget or do you have a limit? I have a budget. Do you have a limit on how many figures you buy at one time, or do you just buy as many as you can? It depends from month to month. I basically budget myself at least enough that I could buy a 1 liter class figure, for instance. So usually my budget runs about $45 to $50 a month for just Transformer stuff. And that gives me some leeway. Like for instance, the only leader class of Revenge of the Fallen that I want is Jetfire. Don't want the other two. So my monthly budget, I could buy Jetfire. That would be the only thing I'd get that month. But since Jetfire's not out, the $50 is giving me some room to play around with, maybe 2 or 3 deluxes, or a deluxe and a Voyager. Like this month, I got Mudflap and Voyager Megatron for Revenge of the Fallen and Scalpel, and that fit within my budget, and that's it. I'm not getting anything else this month. Sometimes I go a whole month without buying anything. I started back before Revenge of the Fallen came out not buying anything and putting money away because I pre-ordered the clear Henkai special edition Mirage that's coming out. That was the exclusive that goes with the little 25th anniversary book. And that's mainly because I love the Mirage mold and want to get all the repaints. But, it's a $75, $80 figure, so, I've been saving some of my budget to put aside, so next month my budget is enough. I have enough extra added on to my budget for next month to afford that figure. And yes, there are some months where, as Tommy and a few other people have said, my budget is spent, but the bills are paid, and I know that there's nothing major coming up, and I know that if an emergency pops up, we're good, we're taken care of, and so sometimes I'll go over the budget. So, it just depends. Depends on what's going on that month, depends on my mental math. There's a lot of factors, so, it's just from month to month. We'll see what happens next month. Like I said, the only thing I plan on getting next month is that Henkai Clear Mirage. However, something else might pop up, that I might do the math and figure, well, you know what, I think I've got enough to go ahead and also get Jetfire, or to go ahead and get, whatever's coming out next month. So, anyways, number 2, do I save the packaging? Once upon a time, yes. Many, many, many years ago, I saved packaging. I kept stuff in packaging, displayed it in the packaging. Then I changed my mind and decided, what, this is ridiculous. I'm taking everything out of the packaging. These figures were meant to be played with. But I still saved the packaging, and then I started throwing packaging away. Then for some reason with the new movie, I started saving packaging again. But now with Revenge of the Fallen, I've decided, what, all that packaging that I've saved is taking up too much room. So basically I've taken most all of the packaging from the first movie and everything up till Revenge of the Fallen and put it in the recycle bin the other day. Because the plastic and the paper and everything is recyclable. Check that out, and it is. So the twist ties aren't. But so right now, no, I'm not going to be saving. I do save the instructions. They're in a box packed away right now, except for the newer figures that I have. But I do hold on to those because, particularly like some of the Revenge of the Fallen figures, like Mudflap and Skids, I'm going to need the instructions pretty much any time I transform them, because the transformations on those are so intricate and so detailed. So, but packaging, like I said, I've cycled back around to everything's going in recycling. I just don't see. Now, if it's G1, if it's something, let's say Beast Wars or before, I'll keep that from now on. But anything after that, I'm not going to worry about it. Is posing, number 3, is posing important? It depends on if I have the space. It depends on the figure. You know, there's not a lot of posing you can do with G1 figures. Granted, I don't have a lot of G1 figures at the moment, but you know, there's not a lot of posing you can do. The movie figures are highly posable. You can get very dynamic poses, and I really like that. But as we all know, you know, eventually, you know, if you're going to have everything on display, which right now I don't, so most of my stuff does have some sort of pose going on. Posing at some point, unless it's a really, really special or dynamic figure, like that Voyager Megatron, Revenge of the Fallen, highly posable. It's just some amazingly just menacing, cool poses with him, and so yeah, he's posed. So you know, again, like number 1, it just depends. There's a lot of variables with that. So I would love to be able to pose everything, but it's just not feasible at times. Number 4, do you own multiples of the same figure, excluding repaints? So I'm assuming we're also excluding any like resculpts or retools or, you know, like new heads or anything like that. I do not. 1 is enough for me of any figure. Now, I know people, I have friends that'll go out and they'll buy 2 or 3 of the same figure at a time. You know, and that's, you know, they open one and then they put the other 2 up, you know, for later on down the road. And that's fine. I'm not knocking that type of collecting, but for me, I don't have that kind of space. I don't have that kind of fundage, really, I guess. You know, and I'm happy with just 1 of every figure. I don't own multiples of anything. Once upon a time, back like when I was collecting the universe, not universe. Sorry, my wife is in the bathroom singing. I hope this camera caught that. She's gonna be so embarrassed. It'll be funny. Anyways, no. Once upon a time, when I was collecting like the old X-Men figures and Marvel figures, yeah, I'd buy multiples of those. That was when I first got back into collecting, and I was kind of like, woo, collecting again. You know, kind of went a little nuts. But still, the Transformers, I never bought multiples. I just only ever bought 1. So, anyways, so no, don't own multiples. Number 5, do you buy or avoid any characters because of repaints? For me, I look at molds first before repaints on a lot of figures. There are some figures that have awesome molds, and it doesn't matter how many times you repaint it, I'll buy it. The Universe Seeker mold and the Classics Mirage mold. They could repaint that thing 100 times over, and I'll buy every one of them because it's a great mold. And I don't think there's any paint job they could give them to ruin that mold, in my opinion. You know, there are some great molds they repaint and look like crap once they've been repainted, and I don't get those. There are, so yeah, again, it just depends. It depends on the mold, it depends on the repaint. There are some horrible molds out there that once get repainted, I think are great. So, it goes anyway. Hopefully I'm answering that question. It just depends on the figure. But I wouldn't say there's any particular one that stands out in my mind right now that I just will not bother because it's just a repaint. Or that I have to get. Well, okay, I have to get the clear Mirage, but that's not because it's a repaint. It's because it's of the mold. So, anyways.